Mismong talk proper. Kwentuhan ko lang po kayo ng konti, no? About sa SFC. Narinig nyo na ba to? Singles for Christ? Sino dito nakarinig na dito? Prior to coming here? Meron na, no? Meron na. Well, just a brief history lang naman. Yung dati, nung 1981, may mga couples, no? Mga mag-asawa, ganun, na-realize nila na may parang kulang sa society natin, ganyan. So, they thought, what if parang buo tayo ng group, ganyan, yung Couples for Christ, ganyan. Yung unang nung nag-meet sila ng mga couples na to, mga friends sila, it was composed of 14 people, no? So, bali 7 couples. Tapos from then, na-realize nila na, uy, parang maganda to continue natin to. Yan. So, lumaki yung Couples for Christ, ganyan. Tapos, nung bandang 1984, sabi nila, expand natin. Naman natin sa mga singles. So, nung sa Visayas, yung 1984, nagkaroon ng mga around, I think, 40 to 70 singles. Tapos, sila, parang ganito, yung ginagawa natin. Tapos, from there, nag-start na. Tapos, ngayon, ang Couples for Christ, makikita mo na siya sa bawat continent, except siguro sa Antarctica. Pero meron sa Europe, sa Australia, sa US, North America, South America, Europe, Africa, nagbi-mission po sila doon. So, mas maraming na nakaka-experience ng life sa community. So, tawag doon, so, maririnig nyo mamaya is talk 1 about God's love. So, pero before that, gusto ko lang introduce yung speaker natin. He's a chapter head ng Couples for Christ, isang chapter sa around Antipolo, sa may Masinag area. Tapos naririnig na namin siya before sa mga, pag nagtutok siya sa amin, tapos, nag-work siya dyan sa may gateway, sa may Accenture, no? So, kalaban to, guys. Pag nakita niyo siya, alam niyo na gagawin niya, no? So, yun. So, para mag-talk sa atin about God's love, tatawagin ko na po ang ating speaker. Please palakpakan na po natin, Mr. Joel Buenrostro.
Thank you so much, Brother Ron. That was really a fascinating introduction. Kalaban kagad no? Di ba pwedeng kakampi muna? Okay, good morning everyone. Okay, paki-greet naman ng inyong katabi ng a very warm good morning. I know you guys are coming from your graveyard shift. And I do understand the feeling coming from a similar industry. So talagang sabi ko nga, the struggle is really real. And there's actually a reason why you guys are here. And paki-greet naman yung ating napakabait at napakasipag na service team who are here, making a great effort to bring the Christian Life program here at Telos. And actually, when I was invited to give the first talk of your Christian Life program, I was really honored because I have never gave a corporate-based Christian Life program before. What we were doing for Christian Life programs, we usually held it in chapels, in small barangay areas, but never in a corporate setup. So this is a great milestone for the community of Singles for Christ. And I remember when I joined, I think ang introduction of Couples for Christ, but I actually joined Singles for Christ in 1996. So that's, if my math is correct, that's around 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago. Just to tell you how I got into Singles for Christ is that I actually have a very close friend who was very persistent in inviting me to this Christian Life program. Several times I have rejected him because I was so busy with my studies and other priorities na I felt na, nung time that was really important. Yung priority ko na mag-inom, di ba? Mambabae. That was really a good priority during that time. But there was a big realization in my part how blessed I was because, despite, my screwed up priorities, nakagraduate ako on time. So I graduated at the age of 20. I had my first job at age of 20. 2 months after graduation, parang may dumating na job opportunity. It was a good gig, and I actually started working, and na-enjoy ko. I mean, I'm already enjoying the fruits of my labor after really going through 4 years of college. So talagang na-realize ko na talagang there's actually a stage being set by God for me. And and na-realize ko when I was reflecting during my early times is that my life was really, really empty. Diba? I really lacked purpose. Diba? I resorted to alcohol, drugs, women, sex. Just to fill that void inside in my life. I had my relationships before, but napaka-shallow ng aming, yung foundation ng aming relationship. So after those that persistent invitation from that brother, so sabi ko, I'll give it a try. And in that conversation I had with God, sabi niya, you just have to try it. And wala namang mawawala sa'yo. I just need a good yes from you. So I said yes to the Lord in 1996 when I joined the Christian Life Program of Singles for Christ. So after 5 years, actually during the course of that time, I was really, enjoying. Ang sarap talaga maging Singles for Christ because we had lots of activities, we had conferences left and right, teachings. I really had this very close encounter with the Lord na hindi ko na-experience before when I was outside the community. And the good thing is that I wasn't really looking for love, but I met my wife in Singles for Christ. So one of the conferences I met her, and hindi siya parang nagpunta ako doon just to look for a girlfriend. She was there, she was, introduced to me, and it was in Baguio conference, one of those conferences that we have outside Metro Manila. And yun, doon nag-start yung aming relationship. So we were dating for 5 years. And I felt na medyo matagal na yung dating, so we decided to get married. I actually proposed to her 5 years after, same venue in Baguio. Diba? On stage. Diba? So, talagang, sabi nga na, parang napakaganda nung love story namin. Because I wasn't truly looking for love. Love actually found me in Singles for Christ. And right now, we have 2 children. Our eldest is 13 years old. Our youngest is 9 years old. So I'm sure you're already doing some math kung ilang taon na ako. But, so right now, we are the chapter head of Couples for Christ in our area. And yung area namin is in St. Teresa of the Child Jesus. That's a shrine in front of SM Masinag. So if you frequent that area, that's our chapter. And right now, we pastor yung mga CFC namin. But we also have our Singles for Christ in the area. And I usually give talks to them to really inspire them. And what really, really amazes me is that iba na yung generation ngayon compared when we had our CLP before for Singles for Christ. But I think the reason why we continue to do this work, this evangelization work. This is actually evangelization work, brothers and sisters. We are not just doing this out of obedience to leadership. You have to conduct a CLP in your area and stuff. But we are doing this out of love. Hindi po biro magpa-approve ng mga ganito sa companies. It's a Herculean effort, trust me. Mahirap to. But because through God's grace and providence, He made this CLP happen here at Delos. So, I commend the team, but I also commend God for really making this happen. Okay? Whew, that was a really long introduction. So, this is the first talk of a series of 12 talks. When I heard that the CLP is 12 talks, oh no way I'm going to attend the CLP. That's 12 talks. That's 12 weeks. I'm not sure if you're going to make any adjustment with the schedule, but it's going to happen in 12 weeks. So, pero what I did is just, attend it one at a time. And lo and behold, tatapos ko yung CLP with no absent at all. Ang galing. Kasi parang Friday evening, of all the days, Friday evening, diba? I was there sitting, listening to the talk givers. These really, really good talk givers. And the people, the service team, were really nice to me. I wasn't really nice to them, but they were really nice to me. So sabi ko, napaka-sincere naman ito. I mean, I'm sure, I really sense that there is really, really, some level of care and love with his brothers and sisters who were really taking care of my needs. Bro, nagugutom ka na, gusto mong candy, gusto mong kape. Pagkatapos, bro, may ride ka ba pa uwi? I can take care of myself. Yeah, suplado But I really felt na that was really a turning point for me when I attended that CLP in Marikina. So, the first talk of the CLP is about God's love. And alam natin na, you always hear the story, yung cliche na God is love, love is God. But truly talagang napakabait ng Panginoon sa atin. And there are actually three things that we need be reminded kung paano ba tayo minahal ng Panginoon. Kung ano ba yung manifestation about His love towards us. And if we're going to go back, napapasa naman siguro kayo ng Bible, or a bit familiar about the story in the Bible about the book of Genesis. Diba? The start of the world, the start of life, where everything was in darkness. So, kung ang Panginoon ay Panginoon ng pag-ibig, how will He be able to really express His love kung there is no people, there is no life to love at all, to share His love, to express His love? And that's the why He created the world, He created us, He created woman and man, and through that, because of His love, He created us in His own image. Diba? That's a wonderful thing. We could have looked like monkeys, diba? But because God loves us so much, He resembled Himself to us. He made us look like Himself. Diba? Because He is perfect, and all of us really look perfect at all. We have eyes, we have ears, we have nose, beautiful smile, beautiful set of teeth. Diba? So, we are so blessed. We are so loved by God because of that. And He was very compelled. It was His driving force to create life. To bring life. Diba? And that's what really, shocks me, is that we are now living in a society that we want to take life. I'm very pro-life. And when I hear about stories about death penalty, extrajudicial killings, diba? Killing left and right, it really breaks my heart. Because my God is a God that gives life and not to take life at all. Diba? So, that was His purpose, is really to bring life to this universe. And when He created the land, the earth, He saw He was really good. It was paradise. Diba? With all the natural resources, the blue skies, the ocean, the fruits, the animals. It was plentiful. It was very good. But, sabi niya, I could make this better. Let's create man and a woman to inhabit the earth. And when He actually created Adam and Eve, sabi niya, it wasn't good, but it was very good. So, parang He has already set a very perfect, world for man and woman to live. Okay? And another gift that He has given us is the gift of free will. Lahat tayo, we have choices. Yeah, because of that free will. Diba? And because of that choices, because of that free will, some of us eventually became very successful, but some already, become not so successful. And the first example of a screwed up decision was when Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit. Because they had free will, they had the free decision to eat the forbidden fruit, and that's why they were thrown away from God's paradise. Similar to us, we were born very blessed, but we started to veer away from God. Diba? We became very rebellious. We felt that we are in control of our lives. Especially with this generation, diba? You really want to really steer your own life. Ito mangyayari sa akin, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. You got everything sorted out. But the problem is, tama ba yung goals mo in life? Tama ba yung priorities mo? Diba? But if your priorities and goals in life are not Christ-centered or God-centered, definitely, kakaproblema tayo dyan. Okay? So, despite yung naging problem natin with God during that time, and actually up till now, God continued to love us. And just to set some examples, how much mahal tayo ng Panginoon despite, na sinuway or naging disobedient si Adam and Eve, was that, they were thrown away from paradise, but they were provided all the needs that they have. Food, shelter, clothing. Diba? Hindi nagutom ang Adam and Eve. they never really experience na talagang to really, but I think some level of pain comparable when you're living in paradise, at still meron silang things to live by. And when you heard about the story of Cain and Abel are brothers. Cain actually, because of jealousy, killed Abel. So he was also casted away because of that murderous deed he did with his brother. But despite that, diba, if you murdered something, I will punish you. Diba? I will imprison you. Or I will even kill you. But because of the mercy of God, diba, He put a mark in Cain wherein he will not be touched by any of the people and actually kill him. That's a sort of protection that protects him from being killed by the other people during that time. Diba? Imagine mo, kahit diba, sa inyong lugar, pag may nakawan, pag may pag nahuli, yung magnanakaw, anong ginagawa nyo? Diba, ginugulpe, diba, kinukuyog. But this was a mark that was given to Cain, wherein that protects him from experiencing that kind of punishment. Okay? Another story is the story of Noah's Ark. Yeah, I've heard about the story of Noah's Ark. Diba? You know, the people during the time were very, very evil. They were really consumed by their evil desires, their worldly desires. And God was really, really mad about these people, and He really wanted to punish them. But He wanted to save those who are righteous. And that was Noah's family. That's why He asked Noah to build the ark to really save him and redeem his family. So talagang kahit galit na galit ang Panginoon, He was a very angry God during the Old Testament, nandun pa rin yung natitirang pagmamahal for Him to save those who actually obey Him. Okay? And despite the disobedience of God, the disobedience of people, hello, nandun pa rin yung promise, the promise Abraham that he would love him and his descendants forever. So that's why Abraham and his descendants, his race, will actually continue to be blessed by God. And this is the same promise He made to Isaac, to Moses, and David. So, sinasabi dito, in the Old Testament, God's love for us today remains the same compassionate and forgiving love. Okay? The love that actually started it all, that created us. So talagang, just like any parent, di ba? Just like any father or mother, kahit na galit sa inyo ang inyong mga magulang, mahal pa rin kayo niyan. Di ba? Anyone here have seen Guardians of the Galaxy? Part 2, Volume 2? Napanood nyo na ba yan? So, well, ayoko naman i-spoil, but, Yondu was the father figure of Peter. So, despite yung hirap na inabot ni Peter to Yondu, nandun pa rin yung love ni Yondu towards Peter. And I think you're gonna discover that all when you watch the movie. So, parang, sabi nga nila, yung Carino Brutal, wherein, yung mahal mo yung isang tao, pero gusto mo siyang nahihirapan for him to be able to really cope up or to be resilient about the experiences he's having. Just to share, okay? My daughter, my 13-year-old daughter, is currently attending the YFC, Youth for Christ camp. So it's their sort of CLP. So it is held in a public school in Marikina. Okay? So my daughter, which is very sheltered, 13 years old, binisita namin siya last night, sabi niya, and she was really, really crying. Rich kid problem. Daddy, madumi ang CR. Ayoko gumamit ng CR. So, nandun sa puso namin ng wife ko na, ano ba, iuuwi na ba natin to? Pero nakakahiya. Diba? Parang, diba, yung mga ibang youth dito, they're saying, they're enjoying. And here, our daughter, diba? Because, ayaw niya mawala doon sa comfort zone niya. Just wanted to go home. Parang, don't let yung experience mo. She was really enjoying, but I think yung just the thought of the CR, which is actually a big thing for her, and I think to most of you as well, di ba? Yun yung, in a way, that's hindering her for really experiencing of the camp. For example, a good example is we are having our CLP. Patayin mo ron ang aircon, patayin mo ang ilaw, tignan natin habang tumutulong pawis, ewan ko kung makinig pa kayo sa akin. Diba? So, similar to that experience. Nung nahihirapan na siya, She just wanted to quit. But kaninang umaga, when I told her to, you just have to suck it up. That's part of the experience. Nung nakita kami kaninang umaga before I went here, she was happy. And I'm sure she has a story to share when I meet her after my talk here sa inyo. So, ganyan kasi tayo. I mean, as much as, mahal natin ang isang tao, gusto siyang to provide everything he needs. Ganun ang Panginoon. He provides everything you need. But sometimes, because of these things that we experience, we take for granted Him. We take for granted a lot of things surrounding us. Sometimes we forget how much we are blessed. And a lot of people, especially the millennials, I think 95% of the people here are millennials. Yeah. Take life for granted. They don't count their blessings. They complain about their salary. They complain about their benefits. They complain about their work shift. Sa opisina, wala akong narinig kundi magreklamo na magreklamo. Nainis ako, magsisick leave ako. Di ba? Hindi ako papasok. And if you're in operations, mawala 2-3 tao, the operations would suffer. Okay? So that's because how you react to these things. But actually, kung titignan nyo, you guys are very, very blessed. Dahil may trabaho kayo. I have seen people in the course of their lives, they have never experienced working in an office, in an air-conditioned facility, wherein you have access to coffee at your pantry. Diba? You have your outings. Diba? Hiyang-hiya ako sa inyo. Diba? Kung magre-reklamo kayo. So, ganun na nangyari nung panahon. The early followers of God is that they become very, very disobedient. There was so much discontent. They were committing sins left and right. Okay? Sa totoo lang, our industry, we have a serious problem. Trust me. Drugs, promiscuity, di ba? And a lot of people are really getting sick because of the lifestyle. And ganun talaga. Because we choose to live that kind of life. Di ba? Drugs, di ba? You have a choice to take drugs or not. That's a decision. Pumatol sa may asawa, that's your decision. Di ba? Magjowa, left and right, di ba? Mangolekta ng mga girlfriend, di ba? So talagang, that's a decision. And if your decision-making is not guided by God, or even the fear of God, your life is gonna go downhill. Okay? So the next manifestation of God's love is a love that forgives. Have you experienced, being hurt, being betrayed, especially by the persons or the people you have trusted most? Your parents, brothers and sisters, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. I trusted you, damn you. Huh? I trusted you. Bakit mo ginawa sa akin to? And I just want to share you the story of the prodigal son. Have you heard about the story of the prodigal son? Yeah. And for those who have not heard of the story, it goes like this. So there's actually a rich man, 2 sons. One is a very obedient son. He manages all the businesses of his father. But the other one is the carefree type of person. And because he doesn't care about his family, he takes for granted these things, he realized na, I just wanted to get my inheritance. Kunin ko na. Dad, kunin ko na yung mana ko and I just want to live my life. So he decided to ask yung kanyang inheritance. And in Jewish law, brothers and sisters, when you ask for the inheritance, for your right or for your inheritance, you are already severing your ties with the family. And you only get actually the inheritance pag namatay yung father or mother. That's the only time you will get your mana. But this time, buhay yung tatay mo, hinihingi mo na yung mana mo. That is a very disrespectful act. It's a douchebag act. And, so binigay ng father, sige. So, by definition, prodigal son is when you have lived a lavish life, spend all the things that you have, and eventually coming back to ask for forgiveness. That's the definition of being prodigal. So, to cut the story short, he lived a very, very, one time, big time. He got all, all his money spent on the wrong things. Diba? Then, wala na siya. And dahil wala na siyang pera, he was living in a pig pen. Diba? He was taking care of the pigs, so he sleeps beside the pig. He eats with the pigs. So, this is not really the life that I wanted. Sabi niya, mas mabuti pa yung mga servants ng father ko. They actually have quarters to sleep at. They have something to eat. Diba? So, I'll just come back to my father and ask him na, I just wanted to be your servant. Just take me back. Diba? You don't need to take me as your son, but you can take me as a servant. So, he came back, and lo and behold, several meters away, actually, nakita niya yung tatay niya from a distance. And was really, really looking at him. And the father actually ran and really embraced the son. And in this story, in this parable of Jesus about the prodigal son, is that meron na siyang nakahandang line. Di ba pag kayo magsusorry kayo sa parents niyo, meron na kayong nakahandang script, di ba? Lalo na, or meron kayong atraso, meron na kayong sasabihin na line. And this was actually the line prepared by the prodigal son. Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. Treat me as you would treat one of your hired workers. You know, brothers and sisters, the last statement, treat me as you would treat one of your hired workers, hindi na siya umabot sa line na yon. He was already embraced by his father, and the father was really happy to see his son. And what he did was, he asked his servants na bigyan siya ng cloak, give him a ring, slippers, di ba? It's very symbolic in this story because pag nilagyan ka ng robe, nilagyan ka ng sing-sing, it gives you the authority na you're actually the son of the owner. Parang badge, di ba? Parang badge. It's a way that would differentiate you from the other people. Okay? So, makita talaga natin dito. The title should not be the prodigal son, but it should be the story of the forgiving father. And marami sa atin already experienced this. Diba? We became a rebellious daughter, a rebellious son. Diba? Ang sarap lumayas pag buisit na buisit ka na sa bahay. Diba? Take away, parang ganun. Pero when you realize na your life is actually going to be a mess without your parents, without your family, nandun lagi yung desire, I wanted to go back. But one thing that really hinders us from really coming back to our family and to God is our pride. And that's something that Satan, we know that Satan exists. As much as we know that God is alive, we know that Satan is there to feed us with this thinking that you don't have to come back to your family. Kaya mo yan. Lumayas ka. Diba? Kinaya mo yan. Hindi ka na mahal ng pamilya mo. Pagbalik mo sa inyo, imbis na embrace ka, kukutsain ka pa ng tatay mo. Diba? Sasabihin niya sa'yo, see, babalik ka rin sa akin. Wala ka ng pera eh. Diba? Diba? Naghihirap ka na eh. Anong namimiss mo? Yung kwarto mo? Yung mga gadgets mo? Diba? You wanted more of this. That's why you are coming back to me. But in this story, brothers and sisters, it wasn't like that. He was accepted by God despite his, shortcomings. And it's not just a very simple shortcoming. It's a bit of a betrayal from a son who actually deserted his family or abandoned his family. So the next part of the story is the other son. He was actually there witnessing everything na parang, Dad, what the hell is going on? Ba't mo tinanggap yan? Diba? Lumayas na yan. Kinuha niya na yung mana niya, diba? And parang, eto ako, nagsisilbi sa'yo, and I don't even get yung kind of treatment. Kasi dito sa story na to, since he came back, he asked the fattened oxen, one of their, yung kanilang mga cows, lechonin niyo yan, ipakain natin, let's celebrate, bumalik yung aking son. But, ito, the jealous son, sabi niya, hindi mo ako lechong manok, di ba? Hindi mo man lang ako binigyan ng something because of my obedience to you. So, nandun yung jealous son. So, sinasabi niya dito, okay, sabi ng father dun sa kanyang obedient son, son, you don't have to be jealous. What I have is yours. And a lot of us, especially those na hindi naman nagwalang niya sa buhay, di ba? Maraming ganyan di ba? We are very self-righteous. I go to church every Sunday. I go to attend all these activities. I've been a member of Singles for Christ for so many years. And now, I see this person na kaaway ko attending the CLP. Ang ginagawa niyan dito? Diba? He doesn't belong here. Diba? Tapos, ang nangyari, hindi kasi, syempre, lahat ng attention of the service team goes to this participant. Hello, welcome, ganoon, ganyan. Tapos, nandito ako ngayon. Ang tagal ko nagsaserve dito. I don't get that kind of attention. Diba? So parang ganyan din tayo. And remember, those people who were very obedient were actually, sila talaga yung, kung ano man yung na-experience niya, were actually already granted blessing from God. And wag na tayong maghanap ng iba. And that's the reason why we are so very happy to see our participants attending the CLP. You all guys came from different walks of life. Diba? You came here with a lot of baggages. I'm sure meron kayong mga baggages. And you also have these questions that you're looking for answers. But one thing's for sure is that this CLP is going to be a journey for all of us. It may turn out differently in a week or two, but definitely at the end of the CLP is that you will be able to find the answer to your question. Why am I attending this CLP? Because we're the only one who could answer that question. Because for us, to tell us the ending of the story will be a bit unfair. But one thing's for sure, you're really gonna like it. And the third manifestation of God's love is God's love that redeems. And we all know the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate form of love na ibinigay ng Panginoon sa atin was that He sent His only begotten Son, His favorite Son, here on earth to save or redeem us from our sins. Diba? Bakit ko ipapadala yung anak ko na nananahimik dito sa kingdom ko just to save you guys, that you guys are very sinful. But because of my love, I'm sending my son to tell the good news na hindi na ako galit sa inyo. I am no longer a wrathful God. I am a God that gives life, a God that forgives, and a God that redeems. One problem most of us really experience why we don't want to be with God is that we just feel incapable of loving Him back. God, you don't deserve me. Kaya I'm just going to stay here and continue to suffer. May iba naman is that, God, you have abandoned me. You have left me for this. But sinasabi ng Panginoon, I was always here with you in your success, in your failures. You just continue to ignore me. Totoo yan. Sa buhay natin, He was always there. But we just fail to recognize Him. Recognize Him in the form of our parents, in the form of our friends, in the form of our peers. Kung titingnan nyo mabuti yung katabi nyo, it's actually Jesus staring at you. Hindi naman eh. Yun. So, God really works in very mysterious ways wherein He would really, really reach out to you. And through that invitation here in your Christian Life program, it was an open invitation that was already sealed with love in a kiss. And all you need to do is say that big yes. And I think most of you already said that yes. But what we needed from you is a very committed yes, that I will continue to attend the CLP. And going back to the love that redeems, is that this is actually the fullest revelation of God's love. Giving His only begotten Son. Giving Him is the first thing, but making Him suffer is a different thing. Diba? Sinen ko na, papatayin nyo pa, torturein nyo pa, diba? What's the joy in that? But that's really an act of His love to really sacrifice Himself for us. Kung ako yung son, nakita ko na, ano ba to? These are the same people who were listening to my parables whenever I go from town to town. And right now, they're telling, Pilate to crucify me. Mga wala kayong utang ng loob. Diba? Pero hindi naman yun ang sinabi ni Jesus. What it is that Lord, hindi nila alam yung kanilang ginagawa. And I ask you, God, to forgive them. And I'm here to offer my life in exchange of these people. And that's really an act of love. Would you do that for someone you really love? Really sacrificing yourself? Well, you don't have to physically die, but a part of you actually dies when you sacrifice yourself. Because you lose time. Diba? You could be at home, diba? Sleeping. Diba? You could be somewhere else, doing else. But the service team here is spending time with you. Because a part of them, which is yung kanilang very precious time, is here. Because they really care for you. They really care for this, Christian Life program. And it really breaks my heart, diba? When all this effort goes to waste. Diba? Pero that's how life is. We have free will. We always have a choice. And sabi nga dito, if you know Mother Saint Teresa of Calcutta, she just recently got canonized as a saint on her book, One Heart Full of Love. Let's believe in God's love and let's be faithful to Him. If you look at Him at the cross, you will see His head lowered to kiss you. You will see His arms stretched out to embrace you. You will see His heart open to welcome you. And His love is true, and we should believe in His love. God's love is really sincere love. And like I paulit-ulit kong sinasabi, He actually never abandoned us. He never betrayed us. He is one loyal friend that we can really look up to, that we can really rely to. And just to share, the reason why I continue to serve here in this community, to serve God, I'm actually also a lay minister in our parish, is that sabi nga nila, Brother Joel, why at such a young age you're already offering your life into this kind of service? Diba? You could have done something else, other things. Diba? But I think when God already laid His plans for me, for my family, is that what He wanted me to do is that, be an inspiration to other people. Not to really brag about myself, but there's nothing much to brag about myself, but really to rub whatever passion I'm having towards this service. And this is my personal encounter with the Lord. Diba? As much as I really, really enjoy, sharing my life to other people, but it's also a form of sharing my life to the Lord. And I always tell the people around me is that the reason why I have this happy disposition, because I have Jesus Christ in my life. And next week, brothers and sisters, is actually a talk about the central figure of our faith, which is Jesus Christ. But before I end my talk, I would like to introduce, we have sharers, right, Ron? Are we going to have our shares? And these people, brothers and sisters, can I have the list of their names? So I'll be able to ask them to, or will they be coming all? Lalapit na lang sila. And I've already told you my story. These people may have the same story as I am, except they're still single at the moment. But one thing that that they can really share is that how this encounter, this CLP, have changed their lives. Because they came here with a different reason, various reasons. But I think one thing that really is common to them is that they have allowed themselves to be touched by God, and to be changed by God. So we would like to welcome our prayers for this morning. So, please come forward and start with our sister Nelly.